It was a quiet evening on Earth Colony 9. The sky was turning dark purple, and the wind was soft. John, a former soldier turned farmer, walked around his small garden behind his cabin. He loved this place peaceful, far from the noise of war and machines. But lately, something had been bothering him. 3 nights in a row, vegetables had gone missing. Tomatoes, root crops, even his rare blue peppers. Just gone. At first, he thought it was animals. But the bite marks didn't match. The cuts were clean, like someone had used a knife. It was too exact for any creature he knew. So tonight, he stayed awake. He sat on the back porch with a warm mug of root tea and a small flashlight. His old drone floated silently above the crops, ready to alert him if anything moved. The stars came out. The wind got colder. Then dash movement. The drone blinked red. John stood up slowly and narrowed his eyes. He saw a shape moving between the tall leaves. Not an animal. It was small and thin. Too quiet for a thief. He moved quietly, like the soldier he used to be. Step by step, he came closer. And then he saw her. An alien woman. She was crouched low, holding a few vegetables in her shaking hands. Her skin was pale and dry, with patches of dirt and bruises. Her hair looked like thick silver threads, tangled and full of leaves. Her clothes were torn and dirty, barely covering her thin body. She didn't see him at first. She was too busy checking the tomatoes, sniffing them like it was her first meal in days. John raised his flashlight. "Hey!" She gasped, dropped everything, and stumbled backward, falling on her knees. Please, don't hurt me," she cried out in a shaky voice. I was only trying to feed them." John stepped closer but kept his voice calm. "Feed who?" She pointed toward the bushes. Her hands were trembling. The children." John turned the light. At first, he saw nothing. Then 2 small faces peeked out, alien children. Just kids, thin, scared, and shaking. One of them stepped out. A little girl with big eyes and a thin blanket wrapped around her shoulders. "Mama, are we in trouble?" she whispered. The woman lowered her head and wrapped her arms around herself. "It's my fault," she said, her voice breaking. "I tried to keep them hidden. Please punish me if you must. Just let them go." John's face hardened, but not with anger. Something inside him twisted. These weren't thieves. They were survivors. "How long have you been out here?" he asked. The woman didn't answer right away. She looked down at the vegetables on the ground, as if ashamed. 3 nights, she whispered. "We sleep in the woods. We had nothing. I couldn't let them starve." John sighed. He looked at her arms, thin like sticks. Her knees were bruised. The kids behind her looked worse. Their skin had cuts. Their eyes were too big for their faces. They had not eaten well in a long time. He could have turned them in. The colony didn't allow squatters or unknown aliens inside without papers. And yet, John bent down and picked up a tomato. He handed it to the smallest child. "Here, eat this." The little girl blinked. Really?" He nodded. She took it slowly and bit into it like it was the best food in the universe. Her sister came forward too, shaking but hopeful. John looked at the alien woman. "What's your name?" I don't remember my full name," she said softly. "But they called me Lyra." "Well, Lyra," John said, "you and your kids look like you need more than just vegetables." He turned and walked toward his cabin. "Come inside. Just for tonight. You all need food and heat." Lyra's eyes widened. "You'd let us inside?" "I'm not a monster," John said. "And I don't let kids starve. You can rest. But tomorrow we'll talk." The children followed him first, quietly and carefully. Lyra came last, looking back at the trees, as if afraid someone might follow. As they stepped inside, John noticed something strange. A small burn mark on Lyra's wrist. Like a brand, he didn't ask about it. Not yet, but something told him. This wasn't just about hunger. Something darker was behind her eyes. Asterisk. The human cabin was warm, but the silence inside was cold. John placed a hot bowl of stew on the wooden table. Steam rose slowly. The smell of cooked vegetables and herbs filled the room. He glanced toward the corner where Lyra and her 2 children sat, their backs straight, their eyes full of fear. They didn't touch the food. John frowned. It's not poisoned, you know. Lyra looked up, her silver eyes shining in the dim light. We don't want to be a burden. You're not, John replied simply. You're guests. She didn't reply. Her children looked at the stew again and to their mother. She gave a slow nod. That was all they needed. The 2 girls rushed to the table and began to eat. But even then, they were careful, quiet bites. Small spoonfuls, as if someone might snatch the food away at any second. John watched them. It hurt his heart more than he expected. These weren't just strays. These were children who had learned to fear kindness. He finally asked, "Where's their father?" Lyra froze. Her spoon stopped mid-air. A shadow passed over her face. He's gone. That's all? She nodded. Gone. John didn't push further. The room stayed quiet, except for the soft clink of spoons on bowls. But something about the air felt off. The silence wasn't normal. It was too tight, like the walls were listening. Like the darkness outside the windows wasn't empty. John's military instinct stirred. He stood up and went to the back door, checking the locks. He tapped the window. The drone blinked, nothing on radar. But still, something wrong? Lyra asked softly. I don't know yet, he said. But my gut says yes. Suddenly, the younger child gasped. Mama, the mark, it's glowing again. John turned sharply. What mark? Lyra pulled her hand back quickly, but it was too late. John saw it. On her wrist where the burn scar was, something pulsed beneath her skin. A faint red glow, like an ember deep inside. What is that? He demanded. She didn't speak. Her lips trembled. Then from outside, something howled. Not an animal. It was deep. Sharp, almost metallic. John rushed to the window and looked. Out there by the tree line, a tall black shape, 4 legs. Long claws, glowing red eyes. It stood completely still, watching the house. What the hell? Lyra screamed, rushing to pull her daughters close. John reached into a drawer and pulled out a handheld pulse rifle. Old, scratched, but still working. That thing out there, he said. Is it looking for you? She nodded. It's one of them. They're hunter beasts. Them who? The ones who owned me, she whispered, shaking. I escaped. But they put a tracker in my blood. I thought it stopped working. I was wrong. The howl came again, closer this time. The kids cried, hugging their mother tightly. John locked the door, pulled down the window shades, and activated his old defense screen, an invisible barrier around the house. Listen, he said, voice calm but firm. I don't care who you were or what you ran from. Right now that thing wants in. And we're not letting it. Lyra looked at him, stunned. You're not afraid? He loaded the rifle with a faint smirk. Lady, I fought creatures that ate fire and spit acid. One oversized alien dog doesn't scare me. Outside, the thing moved slow, circling the house, testing. Inside, the cabin felt like a ship drifting through danger. The children clung to Lyra. She looked at John like he was something rare. Not just strong but kind. John knelt next to them and looked the kids in the eye. Stay with your mom. Don't move unless I say. He turned off the lights and stepped outside. The cold air bit his skin. His eyes met the red glow in the trees. He raised his rifle and whispered, Come on then. The red eyes were no longer in the trees. They were gone. John stood on the porch, rifle ready, scanning the darkness. The cold night air pressed against his skin. But the sweat on his neck wasn't from the wind. It was from something else. Something was wrong. The beast hadn't run. It hadn't charged. It had simply vanished. He clicked his comlink. Drone, search the east line. Infrared mode. The drone buzzed in the sky, scanning. Nothing. He narrowed his eyes. Where the hell did it go? Suddenly, a loud bang shook the back wall of the cabin. John turned and ran inside. Lyra held her children tight, staring at the metal door that led to the cellar. Something was down there. Another thud came. Dust rained from the ceiling. It got in? John asked. Lyra shook her head, eyes wide. No, it dug in. They trained them to go underground. John cursed. Of course they do. He pointed to the hallway. Take the kids. Hide in the supply room. Lock it from the inside. Don't open until I say. Lyra hesitated. What? About you? I'll handle it. She grabbed his wrist for just a second. Her hand was cold. Don't die, she said softly. He gave a small smile. Wasn't planning to. As Lyra ran with the kids, the metal door to the cellar gave one final shake. Then it blew open with a loud screech. And the thing climbed out. But it wasn't just a beast. John had expected a four-legged tracker. This was worse. It had 4 legs, yes, but a second pair of arms too long, thin, with blades for fingers. Its skin was black like oil, and the glow in its eyes was no longer just red. It flickered with dark green energy. The air around it shimmered, some kind of cloaking tech. John thought. The thing sniffed the air and then turned its face toward him. John raised his rifle and fired. The blast hit it, straight in the chest, and bounced off like it was nothing. The creature hissed, then moved fast, almost too fast to see. John rolled to the side as its claws slashed across the wall, slicing through metal like paper. Guess we're doing this the hard way, he muttered. He led it into the kitchen, knocking over chairs, dodging as it swiped. He reached behind the stove and grabbed a flash mine, a leftover from his military days. He slapped it on the fridge, waited, then yelled, "Over here, ugly!" The creature leapt right past the fridge. John ducked. Boom! A white flash lit the room. The creature screamed, blinded, stumbling backward. John took the shot. This time, he aimed for the neck. Boom! The pulse round hit its mark. The creature twitched, then collapsed. Smoke filled the room. The air was thick with burning oil. John stood still, gun raised, waiting. The body didn't move. Then his drone crackled. Warning, multiple heat signatures. Approaching. John's stomach dropped. It wasn't alone. He opened the supply room door. Lyra was waiting, holding the kids. More are coming, he said. That thing was a scout. Her face turned pale. Then they found us. No, John said. They found me. She looked confused. He stepped inside the room, then hit a switch on the wall. A hidden panel opened, revealing a trapdoor. Come on, you're not safe here anymore. I built this tunnel years ago. It leads to the old canyon system. You built an escape tunnel? She asked, shocked. I live on the edge of the colony. Always planned for trouble. She stared at him. Why? Why are you helping us? You don't even know me. John looked at the 2 girls. One was holding a tomato like it was treasure. He gave a tired smile. Because you remind me of someone I couldn't save. Lyra's eyes widened but didn't ask more. They climbed down the tunnel, John last, sealing the hatch above. As they crawled through the darkness, the cabin above them burned, flames rising into the sky. The red-eyed hunters had arrived, but John and his unexpected family were already gone. The tunnel was cold. But her memories were colder. As they walked through the long, narrow space beneath the earth, Lyra's hand brushed the wall. The rough metal reminded her of something else. Chains. The kind she once wore. The kind they locked around her neck. Like a leash. She tried to shake the thought, but it clung to her like shadow. John walked ahead, silent, focused. His flashlight lit the path, step by step. Behind him, her daughters were whispering. They asked if they were safe now. Lyra didn't answer because she didn't know. They reached an old service hatch at the end of the tunnel. John pushed it open. It led to a dark cave, hidden behind thick vines and rock. This was an old mining spot, John said. Nobody comes here anymore. You'll be safe for now. The girls sat down on a flat stone, holding each other tightly. Lyra stood at the entrance of the cave, staring at the stars above. John walked over. You okay? She didn't speak at first. Then she said, quietly, You think I'm just a thief, don't you? He shook his head. Not anymore. She turned to face him. The moonlight touched her bruised face, and her eyes looked tired-like. They had cried too many times and had nothing left. You should know the truth, she said. John waited. I wasn't born free, Lyra whispered. My people. We were bred in chains. John's expression didn't change, but something in his chest tightened. My kind were raised in breeding camps, she continued. The nobles call us low blood, not fit for real work, just used, bought, traded, forced to give. Them more children, more servants. John clenched his fists. And your daughters? They were born in the same place, she said, voice shaking. But when I saw how they treated them, how they hurt little girls like them, I knew I had to run. She looked away. I escaped the night my youngest was taken to be sold. I stabbed the guard. I carried both of them on my back and never stopped running. John stared at her in silence. His grip on the flashlight tightened. They burned a tracker into my wrist, she said, holding it up. They call us property. But I'm not property, I'm a mother. She sat down slowly on a rock, her body trembling from pain and exhaustion. I didn't steal because I'm a criminal, she said softly. I stole because they were starving. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then John sat beside her. When I was a soldier, he said, I saw planets where kids were treated like tools. I watched cities fall while the rich ran away in gold ships. And I swore, if I ever got out, I'd protect the ones who couldn't fight. He looked at her now, not as a stranger, not as a thief, but as someone like him, broken by war, running from pain. Still standing. I believe you, he said. Lyra's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. She nodded slowly. Thank you. Suddenly, the drone buzzed in John's earpiece. Multiple signals detected. Scanning nearby rock walls. Heat signatures confirmed. His face went stiff. They found the tunnel, he whispered. But how? Lyra's eyes widened. The mark, it's still active. John stood quickly. We need to move again. No, she said. Cut it out, he froze. What? She held up her wrist. I'm not risking my girls again. Cut it out, now. That could kill you. Better me than them. John looked at her, then at her daughters. Then without a word, he reached into his pack and pulled out a small surgical kit. The blood on his hands wasn't from war this time. It was from saving her. John sat beside the small fire, staring at the red-stained cloth in his hand. The tracker chip lay inside it, no bigger than a grain of rice, still glowing faintly. Had cut it out of Lyra's wrist with shaking fingers and a steady heart. Lyra now lay on a blanket, pale but breathing. Her daughters sat close, whispering prayers in a language John didn't understand. He understood the fear in their eyes, though, and he understood what he had to do next. He stood and pulled out his comlink. This is John Mason, colony resident. 1173, he said. A robotic voice replied. Please state purpose. I'm requesting emergency protection for 3 aliens. 2 minors and their mother. Unauthorized aliens are subject to immediate report and removal under section. I don't care, John snapped. This woman is a slave escapee. She's wounded. Her kids are starving. If you try to take them, you'll have to go through me. There was silence on the line. Then, understood. Your request will be reviewed. Expect a visit. John clicked. The come off. He turned and found Lyra staring at him, eyes wide. You just called them? She whispered. You told them about me? I did, he said calmly. But not to turn you in. I called them to warn them. Warn them? That if anyone comes near you or those girls, he said, I'll make them regret it. Lyra tried to sit up, but winced from the pain. Why are you doing this? John sat down beside her. Because someone should have helped you a long time ago. Because your girls need someone to stand between them and the world. He paused, and maybe because, I'm tired of being alone. The fire crackled between them. For the first time, Lyra gave a tiny smile. It didn't last long, but it was real. By morning, the cave was quiet. The girls were sleeping. Lyra rested. With her head on her folded arm, John stepped outside. Just as a colony drone flew overhead. 2 hours later, a small transport landed near the cave. 4 officials in clean suits stepped out. The leader, a woman with sharp eyes and a cold voice, approached John. You brought us all the way here, she said. For a runaway. She's not a runaway, John said. She's a survivor. She's also an illegal alien with no record, no family line, and no sponsor. You know the rules. John crossed his arms. I'm changing the rules. The woman raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. I'm sponsoring her, John said firmly. Her and both girls. Effective immediately. You can't. I can, he cut in. Under the old war laws, veterans have protection authority in isolated zones. This is one of them. I just activated it. The official stared at him. You're going to take a slave, her children, and turn them into what, your pets? John stepped forward, voice like steel. I'm going to make them family. Silence. The official looked past him, saw the girls holding hands at the cave entrance. Then she turned back and spoke coldly. This is on you, John Mason, if they become a problem. They won't, he said. But if you ever threaten them again, you'll have a bigger problem. She gave a tight nod and left as the ship flew away. Lyra came to stand beside him. She was still weak, but her eyes were stronger than before. You really did that? She asked. Yes. You made us your family? John looked down at the girls. I did. Lyra's lips trembled. But why? He looked her in the eyes and said gently, because no one should ever have to beg for food. Just to keep their children alive. Asterisk, the stars above Colony 9 looked peaceful, but death was flying under their light. High above the hills, a dark alien dropship broke through the clouds like a knife. Silent, black, fast. Inside the cave, John was sharpening his old combat blade when his drone blinked red. Incoming vessel, unmarked, stealth class. Landing 1 kilometer away. He didn't need more information. They found her. He said out loud. Lyra stood behind him, holding her daughter's hands. Then I'll run again. No, John said, standing tall. This time, we stand. She looked at him, scared. They won't stop. I escaped from nobles. They'll send killers. Then let them come, John replied, pulling out 2 pulse grenades. Let them find out what happens when you push a human too far. He handed her a small button. Stay. Inside. Press this if someone gets past me. It activates the shock traps. Lyra nodded slowly. Be careful. He gave her a quick look. I'm always careful, just not always nice. 20 minutes later, the dropship hovered above the forest clearing. It released 3 gears tall, armored faces covered by silver masks. Each one held a stun rod crackling with blue light. One of them sniffed the air. Target scent confirmed. Female and 2 offspring. The leader raised a hand. No killing unless necessary. The master wants her alive. From the shadows of the trees, a voice called out, Too bad. I don't take orders from your master. They turned, but it was too late. John fired a sonic burst. The wave hit all 3, knocking them off their feet. He moved fast, like a ghost in the trees. One guard stood. John slammed a shock baton into his chest, frying the power core in the armor. Another swung his rod. John ducked and punched his knee, breaking the joint. The third tried to run only to hit a trap wire. Zzz. The air lit up with electric force. The attacker screamed, dropped, and twitched. John stood over them, breathing hard. "You came for a mother and her kids," he growled. "But now you're leaving in pieces." He pressed a button on his belt. Drone broadcast. The drone floated up and streamed the scene to the colony network. John looked into the camera. "Let the nobles hear me. Let every slaver, every monster, every coward listen." He pointed toward the cave. "She belongs to no one. She's free. And if you come for her again, I'll bury you under your golden ships." Inside the cave, Lyra watched the stream with shaking hands. Her daughters looked at the screen wide-eyed. "Mama," the youngest whispered, "he's fighting for us." Lyra felt her heart beat louder than ever. "Yes," she said softly, "he really is." Moments later, John returned, bruised, bleeding, but standing strong. Lyra ran to him. "I'm alive," he said, "and so are you." She held onto his arm. "They'll send more." "Let them," he said. "This land's mine, and so is the right to protect who I choose." He looked down at her dusty hair, tired eyes, scared heart, and smiled. "I choose you." Snow began to fall. Soft white flakes landed on the roof of John's cabin, now rebuilt. Stronger, warmer, and bigger than before. A quiet peace filled the air. The battle was over. The fear was gone. Inside, the smell of fresh bread and stew floated through the rooms. Laughter echoed faintly. Not from soldiers. Not from war. From children. Lyra's daughters were sitting by the fire, playing with wooden toys John had carved for them. Their skin was healthier now. Their cheeks full. Their eyes no longer afraid. And in the kitchen, Lyra stirred the stew, humming an old song from her world. John stood by the window, watching the snow fall. His old rifle now rested on the wall, silent. Unused, Lyra walked over with a cup of tea. "You still watch the forest every morning," she said gently. John took the cup and smiled. "Habit. They're not coming back," she said. "Not after what you did." "I know," he said. "But I also know what it means to protect something that matters." She looked into his eyes. "And do we matter?" He turned to face her completely. "You were just a name. A scared voice in the dark. A thief in my garden. But now," he glanced at the girls. "You're home," Lyra blinked. Her lips trembled. "You don't know what that means to me." "I think I do," he said. They sat together by the fire. For a long time neither spoke. They didn't need to. The warmth, the quiet joy, the gentle crackle of the flames had said everything. 3 weeks later, the Colony Council sent a letter. It only 3 words stamped on the top. Petition. Approved, citizenship granted. Lyra held the paper in her shaking hands. "I don't believe it," John grinned. "Believe it. You're official now, both you and the girls." The 2 children ran around the cabin shouting, "We're citizens! We're citizens!" Lyra turned to John. "How did you do it?" "I didn't," he said. "The people did." She looked confused. "You told your story, and I broadcasted it. After the fight, after the rescue, people listened. They didn't just see an alien anymore. They saw a mother, a survivor, a family." She laughed softly, wiping her eyes. "And what are we to you, John?" He stepped forward. "You were poor. You were hunted. You were broken. But now, you're the strongest person I've ever met." He gently reached out and held her hand. "You're mine, if you want to be." Lyra looked at their hands, hers once marked by chains, now held by kindness. She whispered, "I do." That night, as snow continued to fall, the cabin glowed from within. 3 small names were carved into the front door: Lyra, Arai, Selly, and beneath them, in rough human letters, "Family lives here."